The purpose of this brief overview is to help you determine if Compass Learning's partnership with NWEA's MAP tests can automatically provide personalized learning paths to meet each of your students' individual learning needs. Welcome to the webinar. Let's get started. The advantages of Compass Learning and MAP assessments are the following. First of all, MAP assessments identify at-risk students and place those students in appropriate interventions. Learning paths are automatically created in Compass Learning that are aligned to MAP's reading, language, and math RIT ranges. These provide engaging and challenging activities that teach and review concepts and also capture and hold students' attention. The data can inform instruction throughout the year. It can be adjusted as needed with automatic notification of student challenges, differentiate instruction for small groups, and track student, classroom, school, and district progress throughout the school year. The two Compass Learning solutions that work with the NWEA MAP tests are our elementary and middle school intervention solution known as PathBlazer and our elementary and middle school blended learning solution known as Hybridge. If you'd like to see a webinar on either one of these solutions, contact your education consultant. They can make that available to you. Today we're just going to focus on what the correlation looks like between the MAP tests and either one of these solutions. What happens is after students take their MAP test, that data is imported into Compass Learning. The data is aligned, let me rephrase that. Our curriculum is aligned with the RIT ranges from that data, and then personalized lessons are automatically assigned to students. Once they're into one of our solutions, then we have over 30 reports that can be utilized for ongoing progress monitoring. Let's take a look at what that looks like. We are correlated to MAP's Survey with Goals at the primary level, the 2nd through 5th grade level, and the 6+ test. And as I mentioned, that's for reading, language, and for math. So after the students take that test, then the district or school can decide, do we want to correlate and synchronize every night or at the end of that testing window, whichever works better for you. And once that correlation happens, then Compass Learning automatically assigns those learning paths based on how the students did on their MAP test. So if you decide to synchronize every night, if I take my MAP test today, then tomorrow when I log in, I'll have those folders that are aligned to the RIT ranges on how I scored on that MAP test. Students are automatically assigned those activities directly linked to their identified needs, and it provides a great continuity of education as students move throughout the district. So if they change schools, then as they move from school to school, that information just goes with them. It bookmarks. They pick up right where they left off on those folders. We completed a research study at the beginning of this school year, fall of 2014, and we found that students who complete 10 or more learning activities in a MAP domain are almost twice as likely to grow academically than those completing no activities. We looked at nearly 5 million NWEA MAP test scores from more than 800,000 students in nearly 2,000 schools across the country. We compared their scores from the fall 2013 MAP test to the spring 2014 MAP test. And we found that students who had no Compass Learning usage still saw growth because they had that classroom instruction. Their growth was about 7.9 points on that universal screener. Students who had a little bit of usage, maybe some hit and miss whenever they had a chance, they grew a little bit more, 11.9 points. But those students who had regular Compass Learning usage and they completed at least 10 learning activities in each of those MAP domains saw 87% more growth than those who had no Compass Learning usage. 14.2 points is the difference between their fall and their spring MAP test scores. So we're really excited to see how our program can help with that academic growth as measured with the MAP test. We've been a partner with NWEA for many years now. We're really excited to see that our program is making a difference for students who are utilizing that in conjunction with their MAP scores. When a student logs in, they will see each of those domains and the different scores that they have in each domain. So this particular student has taken the language test and the reading test. And so this student has 3 folders for the reading test: foundational skills, informational text and literature, and then 3 folders for the language test. One's about understanding and editing mechanics, another one's understanding editing grammar, and another one's about writing. And so when that student clicks on each one of those, they will get a folder of activities that completely correlates to how they scored on their test. Let's take a look at what this looks like live. So we've looked at what a student might see in language arts. Here are the different domains in math. And you can see that sometimes a student will score lower in some domains than others. So for example, in geometry, the student scored at 161 to 170. So here are the activities they need to work through for geometry. Measurement and data looks like that's about the same. Number and operations in base 10, though, they scored much higher, 201 to 210. So here are the scores the activities they need to work through for that one. Let's look at one of these activities.
Hey, Rita, did you get your invitation to the awesome water balloon party I'm throwing this Saturday? It's going to be off the hook. I've been filling up water balloons almost non-stop for 2 weeks just to make sure there's enough to go around.
Whoa, you must have a lot of water balloons filled.
Sure do. Here are just a couple of the beauties we'll be throwing around on Saturday. The purple ones are my favorite.
Hey, here's a question for you. JT has 3 blue, 2 orange, and 5 purple water balloons, right? Well then, what fraction of the water balloons are purple?
So we're checking for prior knowledge here, and if the student doesn't remember how to incorporate or make a fraction, we'll do a quick reteach to make sure that they are refreshed on that concept or skill.
Sorry, that's not it. 5 out of 10 balloons are purple. That can be represented with the fraction 5/10, and that fraction can be simplified to 1/2. You know, I'm worried about how much water JT's using. JT said he used 1/5 of a gallon of water to fill 2 orange balloons and 3/5 of a gallon of water to fill 3 purple balloons. In all, how much water did JT use to fill the balloons? So we know that JT used 1/5, then 3/5 of a gallon of water. What we need to know is how much he used in all. The key words "in all" tell us we need to combine the 2 amounts. Click on each button to see a different strategy for solving this problem.
So we're showing students multiple strategies for problem solving as well as real-world connections to their learning.
One strategy for solving this problem is to draw a model. In this model, the entire rectangle represents one whole. Since we're adding 2 fractions that both have a common denominator of 5, we need to divide the whole into 5 equal pieces, or fifths. Now let's shade one of the 5 pieces orange to represent the 1/5 gallon of water used to fill the orange balloons. And let's shade 3 of the 5 pieces purple to represent the 3/5 of a gallon used to fill the purple balloons. There are now 4 out of 5 pieces shaded in all. That means that the total amount of water JT used was 4/5 of a gallon. Another strategy for solving this problem is to use fraction strips. This fraction strip represents one whole. Because we're adding 2 fractions that both have the common denominator of 5, we'll need to use fraction strips that represent fifths, like this one. Let's say that this 1/5 piece represents the 1/5 of a gallon of water JT used to fill the orange balloons. We'll need 3 more fifths to represent the 3/5 of a gallon JT used to fill the purple balloons. So now we have 4 1/5 pieces. That's the same as the fraction 4/5, which means that the total amount of water JT used to fill these balloons was 4/5 of a gallon. And that
We also have math tools here, so a student can actually click on the tools, math tools. Whoops. See where that went. Looks like it went behind. There it is. And we have two that are specific to fractions. There's one on fraction strips and another on fractions. So they could actually access those and use those as they're working through these different activities. And if you'd like to know more about all of the instructional strategies and components of our different solutions, please let your education consultant know, because there's a really good webinar on PathBlazer and on HighBridge that you could access and learn about those things. Let's finish up here with strategy number 3.
one more strategy for solving this problem is to use an equation. You can see from this bar model that we need to find the total of 1/5 and 3/5 added together. Because these fractions already have a common denominator, 5, 5 will be the denominator in the total as well. Next, we need to add the numerators. Since 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 will be the numerator in the total. Now we have 4/5 as our total. That means that the total amount of water JT used was 4/5 of a gallon of water.
So that gives them the opportunity to learn those strategies. Now they'll have a chance to practice each one and determine which ones work better in their particular, the way that they like to learn, their learning style. So that just gives you a quick look at what the partnership with NWEA looks like. And we're really thankful that you were able to join us for this webinar. If you have any questions, please contact your education consultant. And as I mentioned, it would be great for you to be able to see the PathBlazer or HighBridge webinars to know all the ins and outs of those solutions. Thank you for watching and have a great day.